So starting from the next page, we're gonna combine everything we learned and then try to make a sketch. And not only that, we'll be talking about some properties, okay, of each function, okay? So let's quickly go through the list, right? The first one is called the zeros, right? Zero is called the x-intercept, right? Also the x-intercept. You can write that down, okay? X-intercept. So finding x-intercept is what we learned last class, right? Making it equal to 0 and then solve for x, right? Y-intercept is when you sub x equal to 0, okay? And then once you sub x equal to 0, whatever you get is called the y-intercept. So it's a point on the graph, right? It will be 0 for the x and then something for the y, right? 0 something. For x-intercept is the other way around. It will be something, and then y is 0. Okay, so that's the difference. So basically, the number 1 and 2 is like a pair, right? Number 3, the symmetry. Symmetry, we have two kinds, right? Remember the 2 pages ago, at the beginning, we talked about 2 kinds of symmetry, right? So we need to know how to check. We have the over the y-axis. So we have f of negative x equal to the original, okay? Or f of negative x equal to negative of f of x. Okay, now the one of them is over y-axis, the other one is over around the origin. Another name for these two symmetry is you can call the first one the even function, okay? The second one is the odd function, okay? So another way to describe the two symmetries. Okay, and number 4, aim behavior is talking about the quadrants, okay? The location of the arrows, right? So whether in quadrant 1 and 3, right? 1 and 2, and so on. And then number 5, intervals where the function is above, right, greater than 0 or less than equal to 0. So this is talking about the x value. When you see the word interval, it's talking about the x value. So the interval, or you can say the values of x, okay? We are looking for values of x where the graph is above, right? Greater means above the 0, okay? And the other one is the below, okay? We will have examples below, okay? Number 6 is domain range, which you already know. And relative max and minimum, same thing, we're gonna go over those two things, okay? Max and min, as once we draw the, once we have the graph underneath, okay? So let's go in order, okay? So we start with finding the zeros. So number 1, zeros. Okay, so zeros means you put 0 into the y. Okay, so for this one, you would have negative x squared minus 9 equal to 0, right? 0 into the y. And then we try to factor, okay, as much as we can, right? So this one, we've seen something similar already. So this can be factored into x minus 3, x plus 3, right? Difference of square. Okay, any questions so far? So it's already fully factored, right? So where are the zeros now? Please write them out and raise your hand, okay? When you got the zeros. Okay, so Eric, where are the zeros?
0, 3, negative 3.
Yep, very good. And Cindy, where do we have any double root?
Yes.
Where?
0.
Okay, very good. All right, so I'm pretty sure you remember this now, right? So this one has a double root. okay? Because it has a square. Square means there's a double root. So that means later on when we graph, you need to have a bounce there, right? So let's box this one. This is answer, right, for the zeros. Okay, number 2, we need to get the y-intercept. Okay, y-intercept, we just sub x equal to 0. So 0 square minus 9. Okay, so what's the answer then? Donna?
0.
Yeah, this one will be 0, right? Anything times it by 0 will be 0. So you have a y-intercept at x equal to 0, y is also 0, okay? So you can box that. That's our y-intercept. Okay, number 3 is symmetry. Okay, so we need to see if we have an even or odd, right? Is there symmetry over the y-axis? Right, this one is the y-axis, right? This one is around the origin. Okay, so we'll start either one. We need to start with f of negative x. Okay, so we would sub in negative x. Right? And simplify this. Okay, I'll let you simplify this by yourself. And please raise your hand when you're done simplifying. Okay, Tiana, what does it look like?
X squared minus 9
X squared minus 9.
minus,
Minus, there's a
no,
minus
no, like before the x squared.
before the x squared. Okay, yeah, okay, very good. Okay, so negative will stay on the outside, right? Okay, so this one, it looks just like the original function, right? So equals f of x, right? Looks the same as before. So we would know this one has a symmetry, right? What kind of symmetry do we have then? Ire?
Over the y-axis.
Yeah, very good. Symmetry over y-axis. So it cannot have both at the same time, okay? If you have symmetry over y-axis, it cannot be around origin, okay? Sometimes you could have no symmetry, then you just say no symmetry, right? If both of them doesn't work, right? Not every graph has a symmetry. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is end behavior. So end behavior, you need to check the degree, right? And then you check positive or negative, right? So please tell me if it's even positive, negative, or odd positive or negative. Okay, so let me know. Okay, give you a couple seconds, think about this. Is it even positive or negative? Odd positive or negative? Eric, what do you think?
Even negative.
Yeah, this one is even negative. I think this one is the same as one of them, right? Is it? No, right? Not the same. Okay. So even negative. So that will give us which quadrant then? Cindy?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Very good. Okay. So 3 and 4. Okay. So when they say end behavior, you can just tell me the quadrant location. Sometimes some answer key, right, they will say, because it's quadrant 3 and 4, right? So if you look at the quadrant here, quadrant 3 is down here, right? Quadrant 4 is here. So that means they are both at the bottom part, right? So it will be, another way to say the same thing is to say negative, right? And then negative. Going from left to right, okay? When you say the sign, okay? So two ways to say it, all right? So you can box that. Okay, and then number 5. Number 5, we'll talk about this when we got a graph, okay? Same with number 6 and 7, okay? So 5, 6, 7, we need to see the graph, okay? You can box that, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's draw the picture now. So we have zeros at 0, and then -3, and then 3, right? And then we have quadrants 3 and 4. So quadrants 3 is here, 4 is here, and there's a double root, okay? And there's a symmetry around over y-axis. Okay, so if you finish drawing, you can raise your hand. All right, let's check if you have the same as mine, okay? So it has double root at 0, so it bounces at 0, right? Other places it will go through, right? But we don't know how high it goes, right? So bounce up and make sure it's symmetry. So make sure this one doesn't go higher, right? Because it's symmetry around y-axis. So both sides should look the same, okay? Left and right should look the same. Okay, I missed the x-intercept a little bit. Okay, so symmetry line is on the y-axis. All right, now based on this, we can answer number 5. Okay, number 5 has 2 parts. One part is looking for the value of x such that the graph, right? F of x means the graph, right? The graph is bigger, means higher, right? Higher than the zeros. Zeros means the x-intercept, right? Higher than the x-intercept. So I'm going to use the green color, okay, to show you. The part of the graph that's higher will be this part, the 2 bumps, right? Those 2 bumps, they are above the x-axis, meaning it's higher, right? So the green part is for the f of x greater than 0, right? And then the blue one, okay, because the other part that we want to write is for less than equal to 0, right? Equal means the x-intercept. So equal to x-intercept and then below. Okay, and also another one here, right? X-intercept and then another x-intercept and below. So all the blue color, they are for the f of x less than equal to 0. Okay, any questions? So what you could do when you are doing the homework, right? You could take a piece of paper, right? You cover the bottom part, right? So for example, right, you just see the top. So that's what we are looking for the greater than 0, right? So what you can do is you can write it out like this. Okay. F of x greater than 0 when, right? The 2 dot means when the x Oops. Okay, let me erase that. Okay, when the x is between 0 to -3, right? We go from left to right. So -3x less than 0. So that's for the first piece here, okay? Between -3 to 0 or between 0 to 3. Okay, so that's for the second part. Okay, on the right side. So for those, so we are writing out the location of the x such that the graph is higher than 0. Okay, any questions? Okay, this part is a bit confusing. Okay, you are describing the x value. Okay, finding where the x so that the graph is above. Okay, can you show me hands if you understand the green part, green answer? Okay, so now we are going to do the less than equal. So I'll let you try the less than equal part. Okay, so please write down the x values that will have the graph below or equal to x-intercept, right? Below the x-intercept and also on the x-intercept. Okay, so you can raise your hand if you have something down, okay? And then we'll check the answer. And please write your answer from left to right, okay? So what you could do is you just look at the bottom part, right? So the blue part is the part that we want to write out the answers. Okay, so because it has 3 sections, right? You have the left part, you have the middle dot, right? And the right part. So you would have 3 answers. For the above, you have 2 lines, right? 2 green lines. So that's why you get 2 answers. Okay? So depending on how many graphs you have, you would have how many answers. Okay, let's get one of the answer first, okay? Please raise your hand if you finished. Okay, Ire, can you tell us the left one? Left side.
X is smaller than or equal to -3.
Yeah, very good. Okay, and Donna, what about the middle one?
X is greater than equal to 3.
Greater, okay, so that will be the right side, right? Greater equal to 3. Okay, and how about the middle then, Donna? How do you write the middle? Middle will be this one, right? The dot. So that one, what would you say?
0.
0, right? It's just a single dot, so you can just say x equals to 0. All right? So these 3 answers, right, tells us where on the graph we have the graph below, right? Below the x-axis and also touching the x-axis. Okay, any questions? Okay, and then we have our number 6, right? Number 6 is talking about domain range. Okay, domain range, you will need to know the highest point, okay? Like how high this part goes, okay? So this one you will need to either use the decimals, right, to figure it out. So when you are doing the homework, right, you could type it into the decimals. So let's try that out, okay? So let me pull that out again. Okay. Okay, you guys can all see the graphing site now. Okay, and then the function we are graphing is y equals negative x squared minus 9. Okay, so once you type it out, right, we want to find the highest place, right? So you can just use your mouse, touch that location, right? So you can see that it's at 2.121, 20.25. Okay, so copy that down. 2.121, 20.25. Okay, so let's switch to the other screen. Okay, so over here, two point one two one 20.25. Okay, the other side is symmetrical, so it will be negative, right? So for the domain, okay, let's write down the domain. Is the x value. So based on the graph, right, it keeps on going to the left, keeps on going to the right side, right? It doesn't stop the arrow, right? So you just say x is real number. Okay, next part is the range. Range is talking about the y value, right? So the y value, it keeps on going down. As you can see the arrow, right? It's pointing down. But as you go up, it has a maximum place, right? The highest it can go is only up to 20.25. So for this one, you write down y less than equal to 20.25. Okay, because it can touch, right? 20.25. Any questions? Okay, so just you need to know the domain, need to know the highest place. Okay, next part. Number 7, okay. I think maybe we should do number 7, right? Before we can do number 6. Number 7 is talking about maximum and minimum. So it's talking about the highest point, okay? The little bump, okay? So number 7, relative max. So it will be the two circles that you have, okay? So you have the negative 2.121 on the left side, 20.25, and then you have the positive side, 20.25. Okay, so that's the maximum. Minimum is the one in the middle. Okay, because that's the lowest part in that area. Okay, it's not the lowest point of the whole graph, but in that little section, it's the lowest point. Okay, in that area, so we call that relative minimum. Okay, so we have one more. Minimum is at 0, 0. Okay, any questions? Can you raise your hand if you understand this? Okay, so number 6 and number 7, okay, you will need to use decimals, okay? So just go to the internet, right? Type in the decimals, or if you have other app on your phone, right, that can calculate, that can draw the graph for you, okay? And then you can use that to find the max and min. Okay, so this is one example here, right? You see us spend a lot of time doing one question. So this question is already factored, right? So it's starting from there, you can get the zeros. Now we're going to try a question that is not factored. So that means you will need to use what you learned last week, right? How to factor polynomial, turn it into factored, and then we go from there. Get the zeros, y-intercept, and the rest of them, okay? So that will be on the next page, okay? I think we'll just do one more over here. So this one is not factored yet, okay? So your first step is to factor. Okay, just like in your homework, okay? You need to find the b over a, find which one is your first factor, okay? So once you get there, your final answer, I believe this one has 3 factor, okay? I don't remember clearly, okay? But it should have 3 brackets. Okay, once you get the 3 brackets, you can raise your hand, okay? And then we'll go over the rest of them together. If you have forgotten how to factor, okay, go back to the notes, right? The last chapter. You need to find p of something equal to 0, okay? So please raise your hand if you got the factor. Okay, Cindy, can you tell us which one will make it 0? P of what?
Oh, like the one I use?
Yeah, the one you use, which one makes it equal 0?
1.
1, okay. P of 1 equal to 0. So that means one of the factor should be x minus 1, right? So next, you would be doing synthetic. Okay, please raise your hand if you got all the brackets. So 1, 2, -1, -2. Okay, so we drop down the 1, 1 times 1, 1, add, and then 3, add, and then 2. Okay, so we have our quotient here, x squared plus 3x plus 2. Right, this one we don't need to divide by anything, right? Okay, so Donna, how do you factor that quotient? Is it factorable?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
X plus 1, x plus 2.
Okay, x plus 1, x plus 2. Okay, so let's go from there then, all right? So we have how many things in total? 7 things, okay? So I'll let you go, let you try by yourself up to number 5, okay? Go all the way to number 5, make the graph, and then we'll do decimals part together, okay, to get the max and min. All right, so when you finish up to step 5 and also finish the graph, you can raise your hand. Number 1 is zeros. Number 2, y-intercept. What's number 3? Number 3 is symmetry. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is quadrant, right? And behavior. And behavior means the ending of the graph, right? So that's talking about the arrows. And then number 5 is above and below x-axis, right? So number 5. I'm gonna use a different color again, okay? So greater equal to greater than 0. And also less than equal to 0. After that, we have 6, domain and range. Number 7, relative max, min. Okay, do up to step 5, okay? So before you do step 5, you need to draw the graph, right? So once you finish 1, 2, 3, 4, draw the picture first, and then use the picture to answer number 5. Okay, and if you finish earlier, you can use the time to open up your app or use decimals, okay? to find the max and min. And then you can use it to answer number 6 and 7.
Jason, I don't know what to do for 3.
Number three, you need to do the same thing as what we did here to check symmetry. So you will start with f of negative x, right? And then you will come, and then after you simplify, right, you see if it's the same as original, right? If it's not, then it's not the reflect over y-axis, right? If it's, then you have to check the other one. Okay, the other one is to multiply the original with negative and see if they are the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If both of them fails, right, both of them not equal, then no symmetry. If one of them equals, right, then you get a symmetry. Okay, so 3 options. You could either have symmetry over y-axis, symmetry around origin, or no symmetry. All right, let's go through the easy part first. Okay, the zeros. Okay, zeros, I think everyone can get it. Okay, so I'm not gonna ask you. All right, you should be okay. All right, 1, -1, and -2. Okay, let's check the y-intercept. Okay, Donna, what do you have for the y-intercept?
0, -2.
0, -2. Very good. 0, -2. Okay, now a little bit harder is the symmetry. Right, Cindy, what do you have for the symmetry?
I think it's over y-axis.
You think it's over y-axis? Okay, so let's check that, see if it's like that. If it's over y-axis, means if you sub in negative x, it should look the same as before, right, Cindy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's try that. Okay, so now I want to sub in. Okay, can you tell me how to sub in, what to write?
Bracket negative x, and then close bracket -1.
You need to sub in negative x. Plus, do you know what I'm doing right now, Cindy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so can you continue?
Plus 2 bracket negative x squared.
Yeah.
Minus negative x minus, I mean, yeah, -2.
Is that what you have on your sheet?
No.
Okay, so you can change it now. Okay, I'll wait for you. Okay, when you're ready, you let me know. Okay, we'll continue from there.
Okay.
Okay, now we need to simplify it so we don't have brackets anymore. Okay, so how do we simplify this now? Negative x cubed becomes
Negative x.
Can
Negative x.
cube?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to say the exponent and then
plus 2x squared plus
okay,
x minus 2
plus 2x squared and then
plus x minus 2.
yeah, okay, very good. So the negative times negative will make it positive, right? So that's why the sign changed. Now, if you look at this and compare with the original function, are they the same?
No,
Okay, which part is different?
the negative x cubed and the plus x.
Yes, okay. So because it does not look the same as before, so is it reflect over y-axis?
No.
No, right? You look at the rule, okay? The rule that we have, you see the yellow highlighted at the bottom, right? The left side, f of negative x, it needs to equal to f of x, right? Original. Then you will know it's reflected over y-axis. Okay, so this one is not reflected over y-axis. Now we need to check if it's around origin. So what we do is we take negative, multiply by the original. Okay, so let's have Eric. Can you tell me what it looks like when I take negative times the original?
Like the final, or
Yeah, I know.
negative x cubed minus 2x squared plus x plus 2.
Yeah. And do you think this thing equals to f of negative x? Eric?
No.
Still not the same, right? So we try both, none of them works. So this one is no symmetry, has no symmetry, okay? So that's how you make the conclusion. Has no symmetry. Okay, understand now, Cindy?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so that's how you check. You first check if it's over y-axis. If it doesn't work, you check if it's around origin. Okay, and then if it still doesn't work, that means no symmetry. Okay, end behavior. Ray, what's the end behavior here?
Quadrants 1 and 3.
1 and
3.
3. Okay, now if I want to say using positive, negative, or negative, positive, using the sign, what would you say then?
Positive, negative.
Okay, because 1 and 3 is, I'll circle it, okay? 1 and 3, 1 is here, right? 3 is here. So you say it from left to right. Okay? So on the left side, positive or negative? Ray?
Negative.
Yeah, okay. So you'll start with negative. Okay? And then you say positive. Okay? You say from left to right. Okay? When you say the answer. Different from saying quadrant. Quadrant, you just say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Okay, number 5. Okay, now we need to draw the graph, right? So here we have y-intercept is at 0, -2. We can plot that, 0, -2. Right? And then we have zeros at 1, -1, and -2. Okay? Quadrants is in 1 and 3. There's no bounds, right? This one doesn't have any bounds. Okay, so we just go through. We don't know how high it goes. Okay, we'll find out with decimals. And down through the y-intercept and then up. Okay, so based on this, what's the answer for number 5? Okay, the first part, the green part, greater than 0. Okay, Tiana, have you got this one yet? F of x greater than 0.
-2 less than x less than -1.
That's a -1. Okay, any more? Very good. That's correct.
X is greater than 1.
Yeah, yes, very good. Okay, greater than 1. So over here, this green part and this green part. Okay, good job. Okay, next part is less than equal to 0. Okay, Donna, do you have the answer for the less than equal to 0?
X less than equal to -2.
Good.
And then -1 less than equal to X. And then less than equal to 1.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so in between, okay, in between -1 and 1 and smaller and equal to -2. Okay. Yeah. Okay, using color is much easier to understand. Next part, we need to know the max and min, right? So I already type out the decimal, okay? But I would like to hear what you have, okay? Have you all tried it, the decimals? Okay, can you raise your hand if you got the max and min point? Okay, I'll wait for you guys, okay? You guys try it. Go to decimals or use your own app, okay? So once you got the max and min, please raise your hand, okay? The points that we are looking for is, I'll use red, okay? It's this one, right? That's the relative max and minimum, okay? We got 2 places. So please, and if you got the points. Okay, go to the decimal side and type in the function. Okay, let's check 1 point first, okay? All right, so Cindy, do you have the maximum?
-1.549 and then 0.631.
0.631?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, wow, so 0.631, really small, right? Okay. 0.631. All right, and Tiana, what about minimum?
0.215 and -2.113.
2.113. Okay, let me check, okay? I will share my screen now. See if it's the same. Okay, so this is what I have. And maximum. Yep, 0.631, very good. -2.113. Yep, okay, very good. All right, so that's how you would find them, okay? Just take out go to the decimal site, okay? Okay, and then so we can write that down. Max, -1.509, 0.631, 0.215, 2.113. So domain, what would you say the domain is, Eric?
X includes all real numbers.
Yeah, X is a real number, right? As you can see from the arrow, right? It keeps on going to the left and down. And then right side, right, keeps on going to the right and going up. And what's the range, Ray?
YER.
Yeah, this one is also a real number. It doesn't have a limit, right? It can go up as high as we want, even though we get a max and min, right? But it's not the max and min for the whole graph, right? It's only relatively around that little section, okay? Okay, so I think we'll stop here. So your homework will be similar to this, okay? So I will give you a couple graphs and you need to either you have, okay, let's just take a look at the question and you know what to expect, okay? So just quickly look at what you need to do. Okay, so the first section, I will pick some question here. Like 1 to 8 is to check if it's a polynomial, right? So remember I told you the 3 locations, denominator, right? Exponent, radical, right? So you have to check if it's a polynomial or not. And then the next section is you need to find the domain range, right? The approximate coordinate of max and min, right? So just looking at the graph, you do approximation because some points they are not exactly, right? So you just approximately with decimal, you can just give me up to 1 decimal point, okay? And then y-intercept. So this part is about reading the graph, right? And then this part is what I was telling you. One part is finding the interval, right? Identify the zeros, find the zeros, and then find the interval where greater or equal to 0, less than 0. So they already drew the graph for you. You just need to know how to read it. Okay, so same thing, you just approximate if the point is not integer. Okay, and then I will pick a couple questions from the bottom part which you need to show the graph. Okay, and then after that you get the domain range, get the zeros, okay, y-intercept, max and min. Okay, so everything we've learned. All right, so that will be it. So if there's any question, you can stay after class. Okay, I'll see you next class. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Jason, I won't be here next class.
Oh, where are you going?
I have a debate tournament.